Welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm your host, Kristin Kurtz, and I'm also the founder of New Wings Coaching. I help and empower wild-hearted and adventurous women of faith feeling caged and stuck unlock their true purpose and potential, break free from limitations, and thrive with confidence, courage, and hope. If you're curious to learn more about coaching with me, head to newwingscoaching.net and be sure to explore the show notes for ways to connect with me further. Get ready to dive in as we uncover empowering keys and insights in this episode. So tune in and let's unlock hope together. Welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm Kristin Kurtz, your host. I pray this episode is like a holy IV of hope for your soul. Please help me welcome JoBeth Polley to the show. I'm very excited to have her here today. We just got to know each other a little bit better before the show got started. And I know that she has a testimonial that is going to bring hope to so many today. So, JoBeth, would you be open to sharing a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Yeah, so I am now a grief specialist. So, what I do is I walk women through some really deep, dark times in their life. My goal with each person is to get them from a place where they feel no hope, they see no light, into a place where they can feel okay again. And a lot of times that means healing relationships, their relationship with God. And a lot of times it's just healing from the hurt from loss, whether that be death or divorce or diagnosis or disaster or whatever it may be, just walking them through that time in their life. It can be really devastating to people. And there's not a whole lot of places that are scarier to be than a place where there's no hope. And I really enjoy getting to hold people's hands and walking them through that.
That's so beautiful. How long have you been doing this work?
A little over a year.
Oh, it's been a year. Okay.
Yeah.
And what led you into this work? I love that I feel like this is a really I don't know many people who do this work, to be honest with you, outside of, maybe a counselor or a therapist. So maybe tell us like what brought you into it, and then what does a grief specialist kind of mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, I got to take you back to like 2008 when I was graduating high school. And you're supposed to know what you want to do when you're 18, which is
That's what they
crazy.
say, right?
I know it's kind of like, who made that up?
Right.
But I was like, I remember driving and I was just like, man, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And I was like, I know I want to help people. And then my very next thought was, you haven't been through anything.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
you can't help people because they're going to look at you and be like, you haven't even gone through anything. And I was like, ah, good point.
Mm.
So I was like, I'll go into teaching I was like, I'll go into teaching. So that way, like, I'm in position to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went into teaching, and my husband and I got married in 2011. And a couple years later, we decided it was time to start a family. And so we were really excited about that. And each month I just kept getting negative pregnancy tests and like, what the heck is happening? Like, he's healthy, I'm healthy. Like, what's the problem? And months went by, and finally we were like, something's wrong. Like,
Mm.
something's not exactly like it should be, or we would be pregnant already.
Right.
And so we went to the doctor, found out that we would not be able to have kids. It was like very much a like was not going to be able to happen.
Um,
And so we went through like all the infertility treatments
mhm.
that were available in the United States.
Mhm.
And it was just one no after the other. Like, it didn't work. Sorry, it didn't work. Sorry, like it didn't work, like over and over again. And we just kind of just, eventually just gave up.
Mhm.
And there was a time when it was really dark and really like just sad. And I went
Mhm.
to a silent retreat type place where it was just me and the lady that was kind of there for support and stuff, and just stayed there for a day and was praying, and I was just like, God, like, I don't know, like, how come you've given me this desire, but you haven't given me a baby? Like, that
Mhm.
doesn't make sense. And there's really praying that, if you don't want me to be a mom, then
Yeah.
like take the desire from my heart.
Mm.
And so was just praying and praying and praying. And God spoke to me and said, there's a little girl that needs you more than you need to be a mom.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. And like in this moment, like I saw a girl that like looked like, I don't know, she was like maybe 2 or 3 and she had like dark hair. And I was like, okay. So I just like kind of like dusted my hands off and got up. It's like, okay, like that we're not going to adopt a baby and we're not going to, excuse me, we're not going to, keep trying with the infertility stuff. And so we made the decision to adopt through foster care. And so we started pursuing that. And right after we got trained, it came time to, where we were going to start being able to be matched up with kids.
Mhm.
And if you know anything about the foster care system in the United States, there's thousands of kids that are available for adoption.
Mhm.
And I knew that we was going to get to pick, that there might be several kids that came across, came to our house and that we met up with that we needed to know. Like I wanted to know, like, tell me which one's my kids.
Right.
And one day we found out that a friend of a friend had just got custody of her grandkids
Mhm.
and she was needing help babysitting, and you can't babysit foster kids unless you're foster parent trained
Okay.
or like an actual like daycare. And so we were a very small part of a very small population that could actually give her some respite. And so, um, anyway, so fast forward, she brings the kids over for us to meet them.
Mhm.
And the little boy walks through the door and just crystal clear, that's your son.
Oh my.
And he was not available for adoption. We were just babysitters. That's all we were.
Mhm.
And for the next 6 months, we were just babysitters.
Oh.
We just babysat when she needed it.
Okay.
And then at that 6 month mark, it came time for the grandma who had them to make a decision to adopt them
Mhm.
or to allow the foster care system to place them. And she was
Mhm.
not okay with just letting the foster care system place them. And she said she really wanted them to have a mom and a dad. And
Mhm.
so she asked the adoption specialist if it would be okay if we adopted them, if they could just go to us and not into the system, so that she knew who they were and that they were with people that loved them and everything. And DHS agreed to it, and they were placed with us the next day. And 6 months after that, they were adopted, and they were permanently a part of our family. And so we were like I would just say a complete family, like a very solid, like things felt very stable. They felt very secure. About the time of adoption, we bought a cattle farm here in Arkansas. It was like, our dream to have a farm and raise our kids on the farm.
Mhm.
And bought the farm, and my husband started building our house. And about that time, I started noticing like my husband was acting different.
Mhm.
And didn't really know why he was
Mhm.
acting different. It was very odd. He was not being very nice.
Mhm.
And I was like, golly, I remember in January, I was standing in my office here with my best friend, and I was like, I don't know how long I can do this. Like, this
Mhm.
is getting really bad. And because there's just like a personality change. I was like,
Mhm.
that is pretty, like, just so terrible.
Sudden, kind of.
Pretty gradual, not sudden. No,
Mhm.
it was very gradual, over the course of months, maybe. And then one day he had a really bad headache and couldn't get out of bed. And at first I was like, oh, it's COVID. So I went to the pharmacy. I was like, I need something. He's got such a bad headache. And they're like, maybe you should take him to the urgent care if he's like so sick, like it hurts so bad he's throwing up. And I was like, okay. And he was very anti-doctor. And
Mhm.
so I was like, you got to go to the doctor. He's like 6'4", 240. I'm
Mhm.
like, you gotta go to the doctor. And he's like, no. And I was like, gotta go to the doctor. Finally,
Mhm.
I was able to like basically like bully him into
Oh my
bully
God.
him into getting in the car. And so we got in the car, went to the urgent care. And they ordered a CT and discovered a large mass on the front of his brain.
Mhm.
And they were like, this is not good. You need to go to the emergency room right now. We've called to let them know you're coming.
Mhm.
And they'll get you right in. We
Mhm.
went, got a MRI, and within an hour he was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer.
Oh my.
And doctor came in, gave us a pamphlet on the cancer, which is called glioblastoma. And if anybody is listening who like has had that in their life, that probably just triggered a whole bunch of that word
Mm.
probably just triggered a whole bunch of feelings. But they gave us a pamphlet, and I didn't even know how to say the word, let alone what it was. And it was a very, very aggressive form of brain cancer that typically has a 12 to 16 month prognosis. And so you don't survive it. And
Mm.
so they handed that to us, gave him medicine, and made us an appointment to come back to the neurologist the next week and sent us home. And we went home with, a heart full of shattered dreams and a future. And like there was nothing. There was nothing to, I don't know, nothing to look forward to, nothing to, just a lot of fear.
Mm.
Um, but at the same time, I felt confident that God would heal him.
Yeah.
I knew where my faith was at and or the people who surrounded us, and I was like, he'll be the one. He'll be the one that survives this. And I knew it was going to be a dark road ahead, and I'd already seen his personality change, and so it was pretty grim, honestly. But we went home, tried to be as normal with our kids as possible, and he we decided to go to MD Anderson in Houston because that was the best. We felt like the best place for him to be. And even though doctor after doctor was telling me like there won't be, he's not going to survive this. Like even though like I heard that like a couple times a week for 6 months,
Oh my God.
I was still just like, yeah, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it wasn't that I was in denial.
Yeah. You
It
had
was
faith,
I
right?
had prayed. I was praying. I was fasting. Our church was praying and fasting. I would get videos of people praying for him in other languages, and there are people praying for him around the world.
Yeah.
And I was like, God's not gonna take
Mhm.
him. Like, he's
Mhm.
not gonna take him. Like, I get like taking him from me because I'm okay. Like, I'll be okay. But why my kids? We got to be a family for 5 years,
Mhm.
and then this happens. And I just had full faith
Mhm.
and was continued to pray and fast and develop a closer relationship with God.
Mhm.
Because that was really the only thing that gave me any kind of comfort.
Right.
So anyways, so fast forward a year and less than a year, I guess, 11 months and 20 something days, he passed away. And
Just 11 months ago?
no, like
Oh,
from diagnosis.
okay. Can I
Yeah.
can I go back for a second? Like
Yeah, absolutely.
how was he during this time? Like you had full faith and belief. How was he like taking the news and like what did that look like for him?
I have no idea.
Mm.
I have no idea how it was not something we talked about. I tried to talk to him about it because we had a farm
Yeah.
and a business and two kids
Mhm.
and like so much like construction equipment, and we had
Yeah.
lease places with
All the
cattle
things.
on it, like about 4 or 5 different lease places. And I'm like, we kind of should talk about some
Wow.
things. Like, I know we don't want to,
Mhm.
but so his tumor was in the front right part of his brain, which is where personality is at. And this
Right.
is me and my like ignorant optimism. But
Yeah.
when they told us it was in the front right part of his brain, I was like, oh, he's probably going to get nicer. Like he's probably going to be like, I don't know. I
I
just
love
like,
your optimism.
I was just like, oh, this could be good.
Mhm.
He could be just like so happy and carefree because he was a little, like always like thinking about the future and hustling and like pretty strict. And I was like, he may like lighten up, you
Mhm.
know? But that was not what happened. It was not what happened.
Yeah.
It was like he had, the last 4 months, it was like he had dementia.
Oh my gosh.
So sometimes he would not know where we were at.
Mhm.
He would do really strange things. He would think we were at a cabin when we were at our house. And so he'd tell the kids, like, hey, you guys need to go get your bags packed so we can go home. And the kids would be like, what is happening?
Right.
Like, so freaked out.
Yeah.
Um, and then if they didn't go pack, he would get very angry.
Okay.
And
So
so it was
that's
like, there was
great.
a lot of anger there. So he was a very quiet, reserved person, anyways. And then as far as his emotions go, he was very talkative, like just lit up a room and stuff when he came in. He was so good at that, but was very reserved with his emotions and didn't talk about them. And so there was that personality trait.
Mhm.
And then there was the fact that there was cancer destroying that part of his brain. And then the third part was he couldn't even take Benadryl without like hallucinating
Oh, really?
before. Like he was so sensitive to medications. Like he didn't even take Tylenol unless something was really bad.
Mhm.
And so then they put him on these extremely high doses of seizure medications because he was like really like he was at high risk for a seizure and did end up having a seizure.
Mhm.
But they had him on seizure medication. They had him on steroids. They had him on
Oh, gosh.
something else, three different kinds of medications, and he was just like a zombie.
Oh,
So it was just really bizarre. So I don't know how he handled it or if he even knew. I know when this is really sad, but when I checked him into hospice, I didn't want him to know.
okay.
I didn't want him to know that's where we were at.
Mhm.
And I was able to get everybody at hospice to turn their back. Like, I didn't ask them to. I was like, can we please not tell him he's in hospice? Because I don't think he knows. And if he doesn't know, it's okay.
Mm.
Um, like he doesn't know anything. So let's not like, I don't want
Yeah.
that word to trigger anything. And so
Mhm.
the nurses would come in and they would have all have taken their badges off.
Okay.
And they didn't wear their logo stuff or anything around him until he was like completely sedated. And he was just so anxious and nervous and confused. He was sedated the last month of his life because that was the only way to make sure that he was not going to harm himself or somebody else. And so I don't think he knew. I
Okay.
think there was I think there was about a week there. He got diagnosed and got saved 2 days later. And
Seriously?
so, yeah,
Tell us about that.
so we had sat in church together for years, like 13, 14 years. And I always knew that he desired to be saved. Like he
Yeah.
wanted that. I think he didn't feel worthy of the cross,
Mm.
and what that meant. I don't think he felt like he deserved it. And I think it always kept him from making that step.
Mhm.
And so when he got diagnosed, my dad called me and he was like, you should encourage him to get to be saved. And I was like, I know, but I don't want to like have that conversation. And my dad's like, he's not going to survive this.
Mm.
Because my dad had lost his best friend to the exact same cancer about 20 years prior.
Oh,
And I was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, he is. He's gonna be the one.
I
Like,
love.
watch this. Um, yeah, it was so much optimism. So you can imagine my confusion
Yes.
when it didn't
Yeah.
didn't go as I had planned. So I asked him, I was like, hey, it's just like real casual about it. I was like, I know you like kind of want to do this, but like, um, what do you think about, going, being baptized and being saved or whatever? And he was like, yeah, he's like, I was actually just thinking about that. And he
Oh,
was like, so he's like, let's go. And I said, do you want to go today or tomorrow? Because we were going to go meet with the preacher and he was going to be baptized. And he was like, today. And we both had COVID. So when we went to we went to the doctor and they COVID tested him because I thought he had COVID. And that night after we'd got home, we received the diagnosis and we got home. The nurse calls and she was like, hey, this is so and so from Dr. Whoever. She was like, I just want to tell you we got Travis's his COVID test back and he tested positive, so he has COVID. And I was like, he doesn't have COVID. He has brain cancer. Thank
oh,
you.
oh,
Like, that's not what he has.
right.
And so the next morning, I woke up sick as a dog. I had
Oh,
COVID.
oh
And
no.
so we both had COVID.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were like, he wanted to be baptized, and the preacher that he wanted to baptize him was an old man. And I was like, we have COVID. And he was like, I don't care.
I love that. Yes.
So
Something trying to keep you from it, and he's just like, no, that's not going to stop me.
uh
I love it.
and I had no like reservation that I mean, I didn't think for a second he would say no, but he was
Yeah.
like an older man. I mean, if he would have got COVID, it could have been really bad for him, but he was just like, absolutely not, bring him. Let's go. So it was
Amen.
really cool. And so he was baptized and went to Bible study with some friends. And I know he was very deep in his prayer life, but he was very private. So I don't know, but I do know there was a few weeks or a couple months that he knew he was probably not going to live.
Mm.
But after that, I don't know. I definitely don't think he knew the last 3 or 4 months because he asked me if he was in a retirement home when we
Oh,
were at hospice.
okay.
And I was like, no, we're here to get your medicine fixed so you can feel better.
Mm.
And because when we put him in hospice, they gave me morphine. And they're like, you can give him this morphine. I was like, no, I can't. And they were like, and like, this is how you need to get him up and get him out of bed and to the bathroom and stuff. Because when you give him morphine, he might not get up or whatever. And I'm
He's
like,
six
I'm
four and he's
sorry.
40, and you're supposed to get him up on morphine?
I know. I look at his sister and I'm like,
Uh,
what?
what is this?
That's not going to work for me. I'm sorry. Which hospice isn't supposed to take people, I don't think, unless they're like really close to the end. And the doctors had told me that he was probably 4 months away from passing when I had to get hospice involved because the doctors at MD Anderson said he probably needed to go to like a mental institution type place because he was so confused.
Um,
And I was like, I'm not putting my husband in a
right.
mental institute because he has brain cancer. And then I was like, but like, I can't keep him here because I
Mhm.
can't, like, I was sleeping with my hand on him at night. So if he
Mhm.
got up, I could follow him. And it was
Right.
like, and at nighttime, the personality would change. It was so terrible, honestly. And I think I made the right decision. He
Yes.
died quicker because we pulled him off all of his medications.
Okay.
Um, but he passed away like probably 3 months before
Mm.
he would have otherwise. He passed away naturally, but
Yeah.
we weren't pumping all these drugs into him to prolong a really
Right.
long suffering death. And that was it was not a hard decision to make. It
Mhm.
was a sad decision to make.
Yeah.
But it was very easy to say because I mean, it was like, my gosh, if he was here and he was aware
Yeah.
of the level of suffering that's happening with him and all of us, like he would not want to prolong this. And I was the one who was calling the shots. And so that's what we did. And he passed away in hospice. And it was, being there at hospice was a wonderful, wonderful experience. They loved on me and supported me and my kids and
Yeah.
through a really, really dark time. And so I remember sitting at my kitchen table and I was like, this was before he died, but when I knew he was dying, I was like, if I can figure out how to survive this, which
Mm. Yeah.
I will take as many women through this as I possibly can. I will blaze a trail and figure this out because I am
Mhm.
not the first in a long line of
Yeah.
many that will have come before me and will come after me.
Yeah.
Widowhood is pretty common.
Ever hear something on this show that stirs something deep, like a nudge from God that there's more? That's stirring. It's not random. I'm Kristin Kurtz, host of Hope Unlocked and the founder of New Wings Coaching, and I'm inviting you into a 45-minute unlocking session, a sacred space to press in, hear what heaven is saying, and activate your next bold step. If you're a trailblazer or kingdom voice ready to break free from doubt and live fully alive, this is for you. Book now at newwingscoaching.net/hopeunlocked for special listener pricing. You were born to live uncaged and unapologetically bold. Now back to the show. Mm. Well, and how old are you now?
34. I was 32 when he passed away.
So you were 32, very young. I mean, have you
Yeah.
encountered a lot of young wives, widows?
Um, I haven't worked with a ton. I mean, several widows, but I haven't worked with anybody that's close to my age.
Okay.
Maybe one might be closer to my age.
Mhm.
But most of them are like, 50s. It's not, I mean, it's not super common to be widowed at this age.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you said, to blaze a trail, and I talk a lot about being a trailblazer and talking to a lot of trailblazers, and I think the hardest part, and you could probably agree with me, we all have different things that we're trailblazing in. I have a different realm that I'm walking in, but to trailblaze, you have to like cut through a trail. You're gonna
A
get
really
cut up.
dark,
You're gonna get cut
thorny.
up, and it can be really lonely. It can be
Yeah.
really confusing. It can be really dark. So I wanted you to just maybe share a little bit more about that. Who did you have anybody walking alongside you? Like who was coming alongside you? I know you said that the hospice
Yeah.
place was really supportive, but who came alongside you? Did people know how to like be with you during this time? Because it's challenging. Like death is challenging.
Yeah. So I was an athlete majority of my life, and I'm like, okay, when you want to win a state championship, you got to have a coach.
Yeah.
When you want to, you know, change anything, you got to have a coach. And I was like, I need a therapist. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta have a therapist.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I feel truly like it was a God thing. But I had a
Mhm.
friend, she was like, she's like equine therapy. I did equine therapy with some of my foster kids. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, I'll call them. And so I called and talked to the lady, and she was like, why don't you come out and like see the ranch and stuff, and like, kind of get to know me a little bit. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So I called my friend. I was like, hey, I just talked to Kim. I was like, where you go next week? And she was like, that lady's name ain't Kim. I was like, yeah, it is. And she was like, no, she's like, it's this place. And I had called the wrong place.
Oh my goodness.
But it was still a horse place because that's what I had searched, and I could only find one, and it was this one.
Yeah.
Anyways, my therapist, who's also a coach, lost her husband at 30, had
Oh.
children that were adopted.
Mhm.
And the first like few sessions, she was like, or several sessions, she's like, I don't want to talk about money. I just want to help you guys through the next few months. So
Mm.
we went every week, and it was the highlight of the week for me and the kids. They would go to basketball lessons with their trainer, and then we'd go have therapy, and then we'd go to our favorite Mexican restaurant. And it was just a really positive day because we always felt better when we left therapy. But I was like, and excuse me for like my bluntness, but I was like, I'm not an idiot. I've never done this before. I don't know
Right.
how to do it. And so I'm going to find somebody who's going to help me through this.
Mhm.
And my husband had life insurance because we were smart.
Mm.
Like people all the time are like, you're lucky. And I'm like, no, we protected our assets.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that was a very conscious decision. We didn't win the lottery.
Right.
I would say we lost the lottery. Okay, if anything, like we did not win anything by
Right.
losing him.
Goodness.
Um, but anyways, so I was like, I have money to pay for therapy, for coaching.
Hmm.
I'm going to use it on this.
Yeah.
And she helped me the first 6 months. There the 6 months before he passed, and 6 months after,
Oh.
7, 8 months after. And then I just didn't need her as much anymore. So that was a huge part of it. I also told her that I wanted to expedite my healing process,
Mm.
and she laughed at me. She was like, you can't do that. And I was like, watch me. I was like, this is miserable. I was like, I am miserable. I wake up sad. I go to bed sad. I wake up in the middle of the night sad. I work sad. I play sad. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I was like, I cry all the time. Like, I was like, I don't want to do this longer than I have to. And so I became an expert on grief for
Mhm.
myself, not for you,
Right.
like not for anybody else. I was just like, this is just about as terrible as I could imagine. Lost my desire to live. Couldn't even like, I just like looked at my kids and would be like, that should be funny. And I'm
Mhm.
just blank staring at them. This is a great childhood for them. I'm like, this is not good. And so I threw everything at it. Everything. People are like, what did you do? And I'm like, everything.
Mm,
Therapy? Yes, every single week. Did I
mm,
read books? Yes and no.
mm.
I believe that at the core, we all know what we need to do.
Yeah.
And if you have a coach that
Mm,
is like you're bouncing ideas off of, like, and kind of navigating stuff with, I don't think you need to be buried in books. You can
right,
overconsume really easily and be like, now I don't know what to do.
right.
So I leaned in hard to God. And listen, I didn't know how to talk to him after my husband died. I promised him when my husband got sick that no matter what, I was
Uh,
not going to leave. I was not going to leave him. God, like I was not going anywhere. And I reaffirmed that to him daily. I am here. You can take him. You can heal him. I'm not going anywhere. And some days that look like a day of prayer, just constantly. Like the first words out of my mouth in the morning, Jesus, like, are you there? Like, I
yeah.
need you here before I can get out of bed. Okay. Okay. We're good. Let's go. Um, but also there was a lot of days where my prayers just sounded like, hey God, I'm here and fully aware that I should be thankful for probably a billion things, but I can't say thank you right now. But I just want you to know I'm here.
Mm,
And that's it. I'm here. I got nothing to say. And that was for months, months and months.
mm,
And then I got really curious about who God really was because he
mm.
had been there with me. And I'm like, oh, like I want to know you more. And
Oh,
so there was an intimacy that grew there. But I was taking ice baths because I was looking at raising two kids who came out of foster care, which can be really challenging.
right.
Um, I'm raising these kids, totally intended to do that with my husband.
Mhm,
I am raising them by
mm,
myself,
mm.
and I have a farm and a whole bunch of cows that I really don't have a desire to do anything with, and I don't know what to do with them. Um, and which my dad was really helpful, but at the end of the day, it was my responsibility.
Mm,
Um, had a construction company.
okay.
I was just
Oh,
like
girl, like,
this is
uh,
a lot. I did not plan on doing it this way. And
mm.
so I would get, as soon as I got out of bed in the morning, I would go straight to an ice bath.
Yeah, I was gonna have you talk a little bit more about that because that is like the worst idea that I could ever think of. So tell us more about that for those who, like me, are like, oh no, please don't. Like what led you to the ice?
It just people talking about it heals and it grounds you and it resets you and it reduces inflammation and it does something to your brain that's like it's like a reset but also a motivation thing. I can't really explain like all the benefits of it. I don't do them anymore, although I'm really like into like trying to get myself back to doing them. But during that time I had to. And what happened was I knew that the road ahead for me was going to be rough. Like,
Mm,
this is going to be really hard. And so I was like, I'm just going to start out every day doing the hardest thing I'll do all day. And
wow.
so that was getting in the ice. And so I knew when I got out of the ice, I was like, okay, ain't nobody else getting in the ice before 7 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm like, it was empowering. And I walked out into the world differently because of it, because I was like, I'm tougher than pretty much everybody. Whether that was true or not, I don't know. But
Right.
I was like, I would do it and just remind myself who I was, and how tough I was, and how I wasn't afraid of suffering, and I wasn't afraid of pain, and I
Yeah.
wasn't afraid of being uncomfortable. And those are the things that were going through my head while
Mm.
I was in the ice, was like, ain't nothing gonna stop me.
Yeah, like you're reading your tenacious statements over yourself.
Yeah, and the kids had to be trained because it would sound like
Mm.
I was dying, like
As
like
you're in the water.
yeah, like gasping for
Like,
air
I'm
and kind of like
okay.
screaming, like, and I would be like, I'm gonna be in here, and you're probably gonna hear me breathing because I mean it just sucks the air out of you. I was like, do not come check on me.
I can imagine your kids like, oh my gosh.
Is mom okay?
Yeah,
No, mom is not okay.
it'll be all right. Now, did you have them do this too?
Heck no. No,
Okay.
my son does cold showers, but that's his choice because he started seeing like that I was doing it and that I was really cool. Just kidding.
So for you, this was one of your keys. I'm
Yeah.
sure the Lord brought you to other keys. You had therapy and coaching, and for those who don't maybe understand or know what therapy and coaching is, there's a difference between the two. But since we're both coaches, maybe you want to just share a little bit of kind of what this woman did for you as you were like in sessions with her.
Yeah, it was just how do we get through the next 7 days till I see you again?
Okay.
And that looked different every single week. Some
Yeah.
days it was navigating relationships with extended family. Some
Okay.
days it was, what do I do with his clothes? Like,
Mm.
what do I do with, this or that? Or how do I process, like, or how do I, like, one thing she told me, and this is a very like coach thing, but she was like, because I'm raising these two kids and like it's not fun, honestly. And I'm just like drowning and trying to like keep them from drowning. Like it didn't make sense. But it was really hard and like I said, not a lot of fun. And she was like, you need to check into the mental health hotel at least once a month. And the mental health hotel was any hotel I wanted to do whatever I wanted for the time that I was there. And so I started doing that. I mean, I think that's a very coach thing to do is to see a need and to find a solution that's doable for you. And so I would go one day a month. I would check in at like 4, check out at 11 the next day. I would eat pizza in bed and I would get ice cream and I would watch, just watch movies and sleep and just kind of just get a break for a second. But
Yeah.
that's what coaching is. It's
Yeah.
making life manageable and helping you hit those goals that like I said, I think we all know what we need, but she gave me permission.
Yeah.
Like I felt guilty for leaving my kids. Like
Mm.
I don't want to leave. I hadn't left them since he died. Like are they gonna be afraid of never coming back? Which they haven't. I'm thankful for that, but that's a thing.
Yeah.
When you lose one parent, you think the other one might die too. It's just
Mm.
kind of a feeling you have. But guess what? My kids were fine. Guess what?
Yes.
They didn't miss me,
Right.
and they enjoyed grandma's house,
Oh,
and it was good. And I came back like, oh, okay, like I can do this. I can go another few weeks and do
yeah.
this again. But coaching really just gives you confidence and permission and a plan and the accountability,
Yeah.
because it's like, am I going to go back to Kim next week complaining about how stressed out I am after I didn't do what she told me to do last week?
Right.
Like, no, like what's the point of paying her if
Right.
I'm going to just ignore her help? So there's accountability there because you're handing over money and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, it's a little bit more motivation. But people who are like, I'm going to, do this myself. I'm like, great. That's going to you might figure it out, but it's going to be a lot slower. I don't know why you
Right.
want to drag this out. This is misery.
Exactly. And like you said, you wanted to accelerate the process, which, you know, I mean, if you look back, can you imagine not having somebody to walk alongside you?
No, so this is what was happening is I was talking to my family.
Mhm.
Oh, don't do that. I was talking to them about the extreme emotions and thoughts I was having, and listen, they were grieving too.
Right.
Like they were grieving because they were very close with my husband. And then
Mhm.
they were grieving because I was grieving. My mom told me, she was like, you can't imagine how it felt watching you grieve, like
Oh.
as a mother, and like not being able to do anything about it.
Mhm.
And so she was carrying that. Plus, I was reaching out to her, sharing my pain, and there wasn't anything she could do. She was not trained, she was not equipped to
Right.
handle that. Neither was my sister. And so I was bringing that to them, and
Mhm.
they couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like, your family doesn't deserve that.
Mm.
Like they don't know how, even if your parent is a therapist,
Right.
like you just go dump your garbage on them and then expect them to just walk away not being affected by it. It's really unfair. But I think people who don't reach out to coaches and therapists, that's who they reach out to, or they overuse friends. That's
Right.
another thing. I see a lot of women who are like, I've lost all my friends. And I'm like, well, I can't imagine why. Probably
Mhm.
because you sit and you gripe and complain to them
Mhm.
and you're grieving all over them and they
Yeah.
don't know how to help you, so they distance themselves. Like, I don't know what to do for you, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like that's kind of harsh, but I see that so much where women are like, they're 5 years down the road and have nobody to talk to because
Yeah.
they've overused
Mm,
friendships for something they really weren't made for.
yes.
Um, and I think friends are so important, so
Yeah.
valuable. But like, let's not put jobs on them that they can't handle. That's not fair.
Yeah. I think this is such an important conversation to have too, like to bring this into the light that we actually need neutral people
Yeah. Yeah, for
that
sure.
are not,
Yeah, that,
they're like, they maybe are a couple separated, that could be, your cousin's, friend's grandma or somebody, but when it comes to the people in your close circle, yeah, like you said, n not everybody is meant to do that work with you. And I think, like you said, I have somebody in my family that thinks that I'm to be their counselor, and I'm like, I am not, that's not my role for you
right.
whatsoever.
Right. And they're probably not going to listen to you, even
Yeah,
if you did say something. I mean, like, if my mom or sister was to give me advice, I'd be like, have you ever been in my shoes?
exactly. Right. So take this word that JoBeth has shared, especially in this realm, find people. Like if you're in this realm walking through grief, reach out to JoBeth, right? This is an area that is complex. Like I'm a coach, but if I were to find somebody that comes along my path who needs somebody to grief coach, I would not take somebody on in that realm because it's not what I've walked through.
Yeah.
I have in
Yeah.
some degrees, but so as you're again, so you're working with this coach, and I'm just so glad that you had somebody in your corner during that time. So tell us a little bit more, like even on the kids' perspective, like how did they do? Like how did you um have like extra support in your corner for them?
So, as a family, so people ask this all the time, and it's so complicated. It's
Mhm.
just, it's not linear. There's
Yeah.
not a book. There's not something that I could even say, but I do feel like there is something at the core that is really important. And that is that I don't know if my kids have already grieved or they
Mm,
are going to grieve later. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I can't really tell with them. But what I know is that if we can normalize having emotions and letting them feel their emotions and talk about their emotions
yeah.
on things that are not related to their dad, when
Mhm.
time comes up for them to grieve him, they already know that it's okay because they've done it in other ways with other things and they they're prepared and equipped and they have a relationship with me where they know that I can handle whatever emotions they have.
Yeah.
And so I think for my daughter, it's come up as a bird died. Listen, we live on a farm. Things die. Like our cat kills something every day.
Okay.
So it's like death is pretty normal. But
Mhm.
there was a blue jay last year that died.
Mm.
She had it for like a day. She rescued it from the cat.
Yeah.
And she had it for a day. She kept him up and with food and water until it could get the rest of his wings and stuff. And or that was the plan. Well, it
Yeah.
died. And it wrecked her.
Yeah.
And every part of me wanted to be like, it is a bird.
Yeah.
Like, why are we crying? Like, you have had major loss in your life. This is a bird. But
Yeah.
in my wisdom, I shut my mouth and I was just like, okay, I'm just going to not talk until that thought
Mhm.
process finishes. And I was just like, then I was like, oh, this is really sad. And I was
Yeah.
like, and then I was like, in my mind, I was like, this isn't about the bird because it
Mhm.
was like full body crying, like deep, deep grief. And I was like, okay. And so even though she didn't have the words to say, like, this is about my dad, like, I really felt like it probably was, but it felt safer grieving this bird.
Mhm.
And so just like holding them with open hands, letting them know every emotion's okay. And so that when that comes up around their dad, they know that it's safe. I think that's the best thing you can do. And that is honoring really small, stupid losses. Like, oh, I shouldn't have said stupid. Like the bird, like,
Yeah.
like when
In the
you're
grand
like,
scheme of things, right?
yeah, what if I would have been like, it was a stupid bird. Get over
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah,
that said, get over your
right.
feelings. Like,
Yeah.
those are stupid feelings. Let me know if you have real ones. They're
Mhm.
all feelings. So, and I've made my share of mistakes. Like, I'm not talking some, like,
Yeah,
from some throne of
I'll
just
do. Yeah,
super high intelligence of
right,
grief. Like, I'm
right.
just saying, like, there's a
Mhm.
way you want to show up, and that's, you want your kids to feel like there's no emotion that they are going to have that's too big for you to handle, and that
Yeah.
they can bring that to you.
That's so good. I just love your heart for your kids and the ways that you have just been like you continue to rise up, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Or
that's
you've
that's the
had
goal every day.
many days. So it's been how long since he passed?
It was the very beginning of 23. So it's been, oh my gosh, I'm so weird with time. 2.5 years.
Yeah, I have no concept of time over
It's
here.
really weird, like when people ask me that, because he passed away like the very beginning of 23, which means like it's like a whole year of 23. Like it wasn't like it would have been 20, it feels like it was 22, which it really kind of almost was. And but he
Mhm.
died on the 2nd of
Okay.
January 2022.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you would want to share with the listeners today? As we talked about before we got started, both of us really have a heart for the one, right? If you are just thinking of somebody right now who's listening in, is there any other like words of encouragement or any keys that you took from your journey that you'd want to share with the listeners today? And then I'm going to have you pray us out today if you're open to that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, like I think a lot of people get stuck in confusion,
Mhm.
and that is not a place you want to be.
Yeah.
And I offer a free 30-minute call. It's just out of the like goodness of my heart. It might be a good idea for you to work with me. It might not be, but I can give you some clarity and give you like a 30,000 foot view of what's going on and get you pointed in the right direction. That might be coaching, therapy, rehab. I don't know what you need, but I can give you a pretty good idea after talking to you for about 15 minutes. So I want to extend that to anybody who's listening. But I think the other thing is just like every day when you wake up, remember that you're a warrior,
Mhm.
and like don't entertain that you're a victim or that you're not good enough or you can't. Like I will call my kids out and I'll be like, you don't cuss in this house when they
Mhm.
tell me they can't. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't even want to hear that. I don't care if it's the pickle jar. There's a way, like you can do anything. And
Mhm.
so remind yourself of that. Um,
Mhm.
that's a dangerous place to be. And so um, have that warrior mentality and cling to God. He's the only one that knows. And he's the ultimate coach and counselor. So that
Mhm.
is what I would say.
So much goodness. Well, will you pray us out?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Dear Lord, thank you so much for this conversation and for platforms like this. I think back to when you were trying to share the good news and how complicated and hard it was. And here we are, and we get to um, hop on video calls with people
Mhm.
from across the world and across the country and get to share who you are and how you show up for us. And just want to thank you for that opportunity. And I want to thank you personally for being a light in my heart and a guide and a coach and somebody who loves me unconditionally, so that just giving me the example of how to do that for others. And I pray for people who are in deep grief. It is so easy for people to walk away from you. And I just pray that today they'll choose to walk towards you, because you are the Prince of Peace and you are the only um, truth and comfort that we're going to find on this earth. And I just pray that people will walk towards you, or not walk, but sprint towards you during a time of hurt. And I want just pray that you show them that deep intimacy that you can provide to them while they're healing, Lord. And just thank you so much for the opportunity that we have to be in this country and to be able to talk so openly about you and your love and what you do for us. And just pray that this podcast today will reach who needs to hear it, that lives will be transformed. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, JoBeth, how can the listeners reach you?
The best way is on Facebook,
Okay.
and that is JoBeth Polley, Polley. So I'm pretty certain I'm the only one ever.
Okay.
So
I've never met another one. Love
I
it.
know
You're unique. Set
somebody
apart.
one day was like, "Who named you?" I'm like, "Who named you?
I
Your
love that.
parents.
Exactly.
That's who names you. Why would you ask me
Amen.
that?"
I would say something similar to that.
I'm like,
Like, who are you talking
who
about?
named you the doctor that delivered you? Don't ask me that. Anyways,
Love it.
yeah, Joe Beth
Oh,
Polly on Facebook, but I'm NWA Grief Specialist with an S, and that's my. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and that's also my website. So you guys can find me there, but I prefer Facebook.
awesome. Well, I'll go ahead and add your contact information in the show notes. And thank you for being a brave voice who's setting so many free. I'm going to close with the anchoring verse for Hope Unlocked. It's may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit, you may abound in hope. And that's Romans 15:13. So thank you again, Jo Beth. I will be back with another episode next week. Bye.
Bye.